Good evening, and if you're just tuning in, you are listening live to the Angel Rock on 105.7 and 105.3, sorry, 107.7 and 105.3 out of New Orleans, Louisiana. And this is United Public Radio Network, otherwise known as UFO Paranormal Radio Network, or just UPRN. And welcome. I am your host, Lorilei Potvin. I'm also a host of another show on the network on Thursday nights that I co-host with my good friend, David Hansel, called The Thing at the Foot of the Bed. That starts at 7 p.m. Eastern, so be sure. We'll remind you at the end anyways. A few little notes before I get to my amazing guest. First of all, if you want to be part of the conversation and you want to chit chat with us, you want to add comments, we've got Erica Muris here already. Much gratitude from the Carolinas. Welcome. Where I'm going to get you to head is either to Facebook or YouTube, same name, UFO Paranormal Radio. And if you do, I'm seeing all these names. I got to call you out in a sec, guys. If you do, you can join in the conversation like everybody that I'm seeing their comments, because you know, if you've been to my show before, you know I love to make you part of the show. That's why we're here, right? Now, my show covers all areas of the esoteric, the spiritual, do a bit of paranormal, as well as some truth-seeking thrown in. And it always ends with a positive note. And the guests that I have on, including my wonderful guests this evening, whatever they're doing professionally or extracurricularly, they're making a positive difference to humanity. Now, one other thing quickly, we are streaming on Roku. We have our own TV channel there. The Angel Rock is not there yet, but the Thing at the Foot of the Bed is. So if you want to check out, we have so many new hosts, new shows. There is something for everybody on this network. So if you like what you see, please share, like, and subscribe. And let your friends and family know about it, because I'm sure you're going to find something that you love. But if you're on Roku and you want to watch it, I don't have a channel code for you, but I figured this out. So what you're going to do is you are going to sign into your Roku account. You're going to go to the channel store. You're going to look up UFO space and then P as in paranormal. There's going to be a list that comes up. There's about, I don't know how many are on there. We're about third or fourth down. You're going to be looking for UFO space, paranormal, and United Public Radio. That's us. Check it out. I think I've remembered. Oh, one last thing. If you haven't done this yet and you are on Facebook, because we're using StreamYard, if you don't do this at least once, I can think of one person, Debbie, who's apparently had to do it 20 times, but she's the only one I know of as of yet. So if you do it just the once, you're going to go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. You're going to give them permission to use your profile picture and your name. And then I'll know who you are. Otherwise, you just come up as Facebook user and I have no idea who you are. So before I introduce my amazing guest, we'll give a quick shout out. We got Sandra Sharp here saying hello, ladies, and Lisa Campbell's here. Welcome. So let me introduce my very, very good friend. We have the most stimulating conversations. I'm super excited to talk to her tonight. Her name is Leigh Ann Clark, and I refer to her actually as the crystal wizardress because she's amazing with crystals. So she's a crystal expert, channeler, claircognizant, intuitive spiritual teacher, and in her muggle profession, when she was doing that, as I call what we do in everyday life, she's an epidemiologist. We're going to be chatting all about all kinds of things tonight, guys. Portals, dimensions, channeling, how to connect with spirit, you name it, we're going to talk about it. Welcome, Leigh Ann. Finally getting to it.
Hey!
Well, you've been on here before. I think
Yeah.
This is your third time. Well, I've been on the network now. It's going on 4 years, I think, at the beginning of July. So it's been a while. I think this is your third time on here, right?
3 or 4. I don't know. I've lost count.
I think it is. Maybe it is 4. I don't know. I have to go back through all my previous batters. So let's get into your shout outs. We've got Jane E. Walker. She's saying greetings from Central Louisiana. Oh, I love it. Erica Muris. I'm a crystal whore. I got to say that. I took my crystal off.
Yeah. Let me hear it.
Wear my Super 7. And tonight I'm always talking about my resin pieces. So this little guy's got a little spinny. And well, it should spin. Oh yeah, don't even get us started with crystals, because that's how Leigh Ann and I. It was like, well, we didn't know each other in previous lives. I know we did, and we bonded over the Akashic records. and crystals. I forgot to tell you guys what I am actually, if you've never been here. I am a Canadian clairvoyant, medium, crystal Reiki energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner, spiritual teacher and mentor, and registered nurse. How do I forget to tell people what I do, right?
Well, I was about to say, oh yeah, we're just going to have a conversation. Oh yeah, never mind who I am or what I do.
Let's give a shout out. We got Zachman. Good afternoon, everybody. We got Michelle. She said, oh, I want to hit the wrong comment. She says, good day, all. Good day, Lorilei. Good day, Leigh.
Hey,
I'm
hello.
up. So you know where she is. She's already put it in the comments. So for people listening, she is in Australia.
Well,
Australia. And I think we got everybody. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody.
All right.
Good. So you'll see me stop and add people because we do this, right? Because why else have these kind of shows? You could just pre-record them and then talk, right?
Right. Sometimes you pre-record, sometimes you have it live, and you can have all kinds of interaction, new questions, and
okay. So I'm going to start at the beginning for people that don't know you.
Yeah.
So how did you get interested in spirituality? I know you've had some paranormal experiences. You've had some interesting ones we've talked off the air about. So how did you get all interested in this? Your interest in crystals, a whole bit?
Well, it's a new question that you've asked since we've last spoke. I'll just say that, even though you and I have had this question before.
Leigh Ann and I get on video and it'd be like 5 hours.
Well, in the last 5 days, I'm going to start here. In the last 5 days, I have been automatic writing about portals, and it's just been like something I'm missing. I need a little more, something I was searching for to, like, how do I explain this? What do I do with this? And it finally came together today. I finally got it today.
So how you started, like how you got interested in all this, how you knew you had the connection to spirit?
No. That's why I said I'm starting.
That's what I was asking you. I said, let's start at the beginning here. Wait. I know we're going to get into all this stuff, but for people, because people watch this, right? And I don't ever want anybody to think, nor is Leigh Ann like this, nor am I. None of us are any better than anybody else. And I believe we all have these gifts of intuitiveness, being able to connect to the other side. But for you, how did this start for you, for people that haven't met you before?
I was answering that. All I was saying was I was going to start with today with the last journal entry I had.
Okay, that's what I asked.
which was about portals, but it tied something in from past lives and someone in my life today. Crazy. How did I get started in this? I think I've always had this since I was a child. It just got put together for me today. But I didn't realize that I was walking here and there at the same time, and I always have been. But before today, my answer would be, it happened sometime like in my 30s, and I just happened to pick up a little crystal kit that had 7 crystals in it in a book. And I was like, oh, look at this. Let's just try this out, And I shared it with my sister, that I said, hey, blah, blah, blah. I found this crystal kit. She went and got the same kit. And then she says, ooh, I felt this little spark when I picked one up. I'm like, what? And it was like, oh, I want that. Why is that not happening to me? But I started.
Did you feel anything when you picked them up? Because I know when I talk to people, some people are like, they're just positively vibrating. I didn't feel anything. I still don't necessarily. Sometimes I do, but it's more or less like I go by my eye, pick it up. Okay, for people that have never heard this before, you have a conversation with the crystal in the mind's eye and say, I really love you. Would you like to come home with me?
There are many ways that you pick a crystal, and it's never wrong. It is never, never, never wrong, because depending on how you pick a crystal out is how it works with you, what you're going to get from it.
So did you feel anything with that crystal kit? Like, did you feel anything? No? Okay.
No, nothing. And I remember my sister said that was it the red one? The red one like gave me it was like a spark. I mean, she's like, ooh, I could feel it. And I thought, no, I'm so jealous. But okay, only when I'm in meditation with them, it gets really powerful. And it's just, clairvoyance, clairaudience, claircognizance. It's all
You're
kind
going
of
to have to tell people maybe
right.
what those mean, because we're going to have people listening and
Okay.
going, what is she talking about?
It's like with just holding them and meditating with them and being quiet, just being peaceful and sitting there. It's I see things, I hear things, I just know things. And then luckily, I've had 3, 4, 5 different people tell me, you've got some books to write. I'm like, yeah,
I've told you that
I
too.
yes. And I'm like, yes, I keep being told this. So when I started having these experiences meditating with crystals, luckily I started to journal it all as it happened, most of it as I could. And just like the crystals and how I had them arranged, the table in front of me, or if I held them, or and what song was playing, because also I'm finding sound, music is very, very important to me. So crystals and music together is just bliss for me, complete bliss.
So would you say then, because I don't want people to think we're going to do a whole show about crystals. So
Right.
we're going to talk about it. But I do want to, we'll shut this up because it's kind of a portal way into the spirit world. It can be. Mind you, we got a lot of people chatting about crystals. We'll see where everybody wants to go. So we've got Erica who says, I'm wearing lapis, danbarite, I love Herkimer diamonds.
Yes.
An amethyst. I'm going to throw in a quickie here. Living where I do in Northwestern Ontario, we have an amethyst mine right here. We're one of the best known. I took my baby off because I should have kept it on, but it's a Super 7. And the
Lorilei 23. This is
you took the words out of my mouth. We're known for Lorilei 23 as well. You can actually go to some of the amethyst mines here in Thunder Bay and actually mine your own amethyst. You don't get the good stuff, but I can tell you, my eldest son, was out walking rurally on one of the paths, and he picked up so many beautiful crystal pieces, or like amethyst for me.
Wow.
And brought them home. He just happened to find them. So I got stuck on amethyst here. She said, I have selenite. I have so many crystals back here. I know Leigh Ann's probably in her crystal room. I can see you guys.
Yes.
I get nature crystal envy when I look at stuff. And she said, selenite, tourmaline, obsidian, tiger's eye, and petrified wood in my pockets. I won't talk about my purse. I'm actually really crafty. And I didn't realize how many women in particular. Now, this isn't just for women. We love the men here. We got Zach here. Zach's a great supporter of the show. And I would never want to say it's just for women. But I have noticed how many women carry crystals in their bras. So I am working on, Leigh Ann, we've talked about this, designing something to tuck into their bra so that you don't lose it. Because very quickly, I'm going to tell a story. There was a lady who shared about selenite. You know this story because we were talking about she was really large chested, and she stuck her selenite in there, and she was wearing it all day and thinking, oh, I got my crystal, blah, blah, blah. She goes to get undressed at night, and she goes, oh, where's my selenite? Where's my selenite? And I think she found like just this microscopic little bit of powder, because it's got like gypsum properties. It's not safe in water. I know you know this for our listeners. Safe in water. It melted. Let's just say with the heat of her bosom.
Here, I'll make it even funny. It melted from the famunda.
I didn't know what that was until you told me.
Famunda. Anyway,
apparently let's just say it was tucked very safely underneath, in between the famunda, as Leigh Ann calls it. So Michelle says, I'm wearing a vivid purple Boulder opal. Ooh,
yes, from
Michelle.
Yes.
And I love the question to ask: how many are too many, or this doesn't apply to crystals. I agree.
I don't think it applies, but my rule of thumb is this: just when you have whatever you have around you, or what you're trying to decide what to wear or how many to wear, just feel into it.
No, but when you're out shopping, so
shopping,
if you're spending the majority of your paycheck and you can't pay your rent, that might be too
that's too much.
Like
that's
space
too much.
them out. But no, I don't think there's enough crystals. My son, and then there's so many memes. I've sent Leigh Ann a ton of them too, and it's with the Little Mermaid, and she's going, look at this stuff, look at it. isn't this neat? When she's under the water, don't you think my collection's complete? And she starts talking about crystals. It's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What I would say for someone, if you're trying to think about how much is too much, or if there's a question about do I have enough or should I stop and money's tight, there are so many crystals that you can use from many various different things. So it would be, I would say would be a select few that I would purchase first, and they can do so many things for you without having to get this specialty crystal and this expensive one. And
so what would you suggest? Because I have a suggestion I give to people as someone starting out, because I've had many people say to me, what are crystals? And then, do they work? I used to say, do they work? And then what I have a suggestion, but you go ahead and share what you tell people too, if they're starting out.
So for starting out, there's usually you can find like a chakra kit. That's always a nice place to start, where it will have 7 chakras, and they will have
What if people don't know what chakras are?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Leigh Ann knows this because I warned her. I said, we can't just talk spiritual language. And I'm not being disrespectful to people here who understand, but 80% of our listening audience is listening. And lots of people find us just zooming around on Facebook or YouTube, and they're going, what's a chakra?
Yeah. Okay. That's true. Okay. So the chakras, it's a system of spinning wheels of energy that we have in our beingness. I don't know if I'd say it's in our bodies, but it's part of our bodies. And there's more than 7, but there are 7 main ones. And they are root, sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, crown. And each one of those has a specific position within our body and corresponding organ systems and tissues, emotions, mental processes with each one of those chakras, and they each have a different color. You can select crystals that would match the chakras of your body, and it aligns very well and works well with it. Now,
I'm going to jump in here for a sec. Okay, so crystal Reiki is such a misnomer. And I've done it with you, right, Leigh Ann? I think I have.
Yes.
So, okay, so chakras, first of all, you can't see them. Okay. But I know right away when someone comes to see me for a crystal Reiki session, I have 15 symbols that I use specifically with crystals. Chakras, I call them your invisible energy core, if you will. Leigh Ann is absolutely right. Colors, the way they spin and what have you, go right through the center. There are so many more. But I think as human beings, we're meant to live in balance on this planet. So if you will, it's almost like they connect us to the earth and they connect us to whatever your belief system is, universe, source, God, whatever it may be, Allah. And so with crystal Reiki, for example, when someone comes to see me and they're telling me for whatever reason, it could be manifestation problems, money problems, could be health, could be whatever. I usually really have to clear my mind because I don't have to be in front of you to do it. But we check the 7 major chakras or energy centers. And I can tell you right now, there's usually, without fail, whatever's going on in their life will show within that energy center. So you bought this, Chris, I got you way off track here. I'm sorry. So you bought this 7, are you suggesting that maybe something for the 7 chakras, crystal set?
Yeah. So I would say either start with the 7 chakras because it's basic, and I mean basic for chakras, but basic for colors. It's a good place to start because when you're selecting crystals to work with or selecting a crystal you want to buy, at least part of the time it's going to be by sight. I mean, it could be you touched it. It could be, I don't know, somebody told you something about a crystal and now you got to go buy it. But a lot of times it is by sight. And so it's the color. And so knowing colors and color therapy and crystals, combining those 2 concepts, you can pick out a crystal that can just be the best thing for you, for the day, for the situation, for you to sleep with, beside the bed, in the bed, whatever you want to do. But a lot of times you can pick crystals by color and not know much.
You're a beginner. Okay, I'm going to share with you what I do. Leigh Ann will do something different. I always tell people, take what resonates and leave the rest. For example, Erica said I got zapped with teeny tiny, I mean itty bitty sliver of moldavite the first time I touched it. Moldavite is a powerful crystal and I love it. It's amazing. Some people can't tolerate it. For example, it's very expensive too. So what I always say to people, and again, this is my belief system, so if it resonates, great. You really want to get into crystals. You've gone into a crystal store, you feel like, oh my gosh, I want to take them all. And we all do when we go in there, when you get hooked on crystals. I suggested people maybe to pick up a piece of just clear quartz, whatever one feels right, you're drawn to for whatever reason, maybe some pink quartz as well. But the beauty, I believe, with quartz is it can hold the frequency of any crystal. So you can set the intention and ask your quartz to I would like to work with the properties of moldavite, for example, and ask it to hold it. And it sounds crazy, it sounds really woo-woo as we call it that, but remembering that everything is energy, right? Including our thoughts, our words, and our emotions. And it works. What do you tell people? Say they don't have a lot of money, but they want to get into crystals.
Well, okay, I'm going to make an assumption. Like, let's say if you were to buy a small crystal where it's $3 or $5 a piece, like we're talking a small tumbled stone, I would say still get 5, 3, just get a few. And again, this comes with whatever you can afford, what you think you're willing to do, wanting to experience. But start with a few, and I would work with one at a time, get to know them, sit with them. And I mean, like, just you just hold them, like maybe you're watching TV, or put them in your bra. Or put them,
you should
put them in your pocket
too, right? Because like with quartz, you don't really need to do that. But again, talking about everything's energy, and I always try to remind people, you don't know who's touched the crystal, where it come from, and it picks up energy. So there's lots of different ways to clear it. And
absolutely.
Crystals, we should tell Leigh Ann, is Leigh Ann and I are working on a free, can't even really call it a master class anymore, can we? But the visions that we have is it's going to be free. And say Leigh Ann, I don't know, she could do a Akashic record, she could do anything with spirituality, but we're each going to look for people, not just ourselves, that have an area of expertise. So you're new to spirituality, you want to learn more about it. So it might be an hour-long presentation, and then get together and maybe whomever you feel like you want to know more about and connect with and what have you. Right. But we both love crystals. So we knew we were going to start with crystals. I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I wanted to read Zach's, because he had something interesting. He said, I had an interesting experience that happened to me last week that goes along the lines of crystals. So please share. Let's just read a few more comments here, honey. So where are we? Erica says, I can feel when my chakras are blocked. Yes, I currently have issues, but who doesn't? Right?
Yeah. I will say this. Years ago when I was writing, I have a course that I teach in person, but I'm actually kind of in the middle of converting it to be online. But it's an introductory course of healing crystals. And one of the things I found very early in writing this, because it was just I started writing stuff down and then, trying to put it together in some meaningful way. I tried my best to avoid the chakra system. I did. It was like,
oh, really? What was your thoughts on that? Like, why did you feel that way?
Because I just I don't want to talk about them. I just want to talk about crystals. And then I'm like, yeah, I can't separate those two. As much as I tried, I could not. Because I'm like, well, there's the color aspect. And then and I was like, you know what? I can't separate these two. And so then it kind of pulled me into chakras. And I mean, I know some, but it was just like, okay, so that's how that starts. Like, no, I don't want to go there. I went there.
I went there. Right. Crystals can be used for a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
And right. As soon as you start breaking down the properties of crystals and the colors. Zach says, please bear with me. It's a long story. You go ahead, Zach. I'll watch for it. We've got a question I will get to. But the thing I say to people is, you and I have again talked. We've talked lots about this stuff. We have the most. I swear, if you were a fly on the wall, the conversations we have that we're going to get into tonight. I always say to people people that put out crystal books, they put a lot of amazing information. It's a great springing off starting point. But remember, that came from one person. Now, it probably was channeled from the other side because we're going to talk a little bit about channeling and portals and things like that tonight.
Yeah.
But if you pick up a crystal and you feel you're not finding any of these properties, you're not feeling any of this, but you feel it's good for something else, that's okay. That's the way it interacts with you.
Yes, that is okay. I would say I'm God taught. So I mean, I read books, I've read books, I look up stuff on the internet, yeah, all that. But exactly what you just said, because somebody like the laying on of crystals, I don't do that. I don't know how to do that. And I'm just like, maybe one day, but right now, no, that's not what I do. But when I'm having my time with crystals and I notice where I position them, I'm like, well, this is what works for me. This is just how they speak to me. This is just this is right for me. I don't know how else to say that. So you're exactly right. They're, looking at the books that tell you the properties of it, a lot of these were channeled. And to me, again, you take what resonates and you leave the rest. You find that you're drawn to certain people's material and other people's not. And then there'll come a time where it'll be your material. It'll come from you of what you want to do, how you want to do it, and when you want to do it. So nothing wrong with that. Nothing
I
wrong with
love it. Let's
Mhm.
answer. I'll let you answer this. It's from Erica, and she said, "What do y'all think about charging crystals during an eclipse, full moon?"
Okay, so yes, charging your crystals during a full moon is the best.
She
I think
asked
it's one of
eclipse full moon.
eclipse full moon.
We just had one.
I don't know.
Okay, so let's think about it. Let's think about it. What do you?
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts, or you want to have a minute to connect to the other side? Because I would think that it could be especially powerful.
I think I would need more astrological information on what's going on during this eclipse before I could really comment on that. But it could be a very powerful event to charge your crystals.
What I'm going to add, though, is again, I believe, okay, I believe spirit gave me this. What we perceive becomes what we believe, and it becomes our reality. So if you felt that it was important, full moons are amazing because I know that's where you were going to go with a perfect way to charge and clear your crystals. An eclipse full moon. How does it make you feel? What are you feeling? What are you picking up? Like Leigh Ann said, astrologically, if you're into that, or just sort of what's going on around you. But you can set the intention, I think, for whatever you want to happen with your crystals.
Oh, I do. Yeah, absolutely. Your intention is very powerful. So that's absolutely something to not forget, to not discount. What I was going to say about full moon and not the eclipse part was, yeah, if you want to charge your crystals during a full moon, that's absolutely like really good thing to do. I do not, because I have so many. I do not do that because I try to do mine all at the same time. So I have found something.
You have a ton.
Yeah. So I have found a way that, okay, this works for everybody. Good. That's easy for me. But it doesn't mean that sometimes I don't do a special something, or, one gets to sit over here or whatever. But just for the ease of it, I don't do any of them in the full moon anymore. But I used to, and I think it's good.
So what do you do?
I clear mine with selenite. I clear mine with sound. And that's pretty much that's it. That's pretty much it.
I don't use crystal. I use a big wand. I don't even use this one. I use this one in Crystal Reiki, but
yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
I didn't mean to stop you there. I'm getting so excited.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Zach.
Okay, I'll read it for you.
Okay.
Last Monday, I was having a tough work day. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Putting in 12 hours, that is a long day. I told my manager I was taking half a day the following day for a mental health break. I decided to go take a day trip. And Erica shared something really cool I'm going to share after this. That's pretty cool because I don't think it sounds crazy at all. Sorry, Zach, it just jumped here. Give me a sec. So Zach said, I decided to take a day trip to Globe, Arizona. I drove out there and had lunch at one of my favorite restaurants there. Afterwards, I wanted to go browse some of the antique shops in town, but many had changed their summer hours to where they were only open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I was disappointed and left town early in the afternoon. Flash forward to Friday. My manager called me and asked me to deliver some auto parts. Okay, this is going to be interesting, I can tell.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh.
Okay, and so Zach decided to browse downtown Globe. I was drawn to an antique boutique shop entering the downtown area. Walked into a room and was drawn to a large piece of raw copper that
Love it.
he's still typing. So while he's still typing, this sounds incredible. But I want to go back to well, Sandra says, sorry, he's still typing, but I'll fill in with Sandra here. Sandra's been typing. We haven't had a chance to read it. She said, I do the same thing, backing up a little bit. She said, then my son comes to visit and raids my stash of crystals. And I struggled to figure out which pieces I'm missing. Yeah, welcome to the club. Well, when he used to live with me. Okay, Zach, you got the rest of the story, so hang on. Come on, computer. Let's cooperate here. No, I guess he didn't. Hang on, we're waiting for it. So I wanted to read.
Okay.
It was Erica's comment here because she was talking about the Fae.
Okay.
I saw it. So give me a sec. My computer is not participating well today. Okay, I know this may sound crazy, she said.
Nah.
Yeah, Leigh Ann and I both say, try me. But
you're all safe here.
Yep, I honestly believe the Fae stole my lapis lazuli, which came from Iraq before the U.S. stopped allowing any trading with them. You want anything you want to say on that, Leigh Ann?
Oh yeah, those darn little fairies, man. They're crafty. One of my good friends owns a crystal store, and the fairies mess with her frequently. And and I mean, things disappear and they reappear, and it's a hassle. It's a hassle. So I believe you. I totally believe you.
I believe you. I'm going to get to your story in a sec here, Zach, because Sandra said I have a selenite charging plate.
Yeah, lovely. Lovely. Wonderful. I'll say this. You can charge your crystals on selenite, wands, or plates. You can do amethyst, and you can do clear quartz. So you have all the geodes, like the clear quartz geodes or clusters, and same thing with amethyst. The clusters or the geodes are better, but you can charge on those too. They're all in the quartz family. Amethyst is a purple quartz.
Yeah.
Clear quartz, rose quartz, that's all the same family. Citrine, same family. So you can't go wrong with quartz. Get a lot of quartz. You'll love it. Yeah, I love quartz. I love all kinds of
powerful. They used to use little chips of quartz in with watch batteries.
I was going to say that. Yeah, see, now, if they can do that and they know what they're doing, and there's all kinds of technology based on quartz, I mean, that tells you something. Not a lot, but it tells you something. It's a start.
Well, absolutely. And then you get into Vogel crystals. And I have a friend that used to work with Marcel Vogel. And for those that may not know what Vogel crystals are, to get a true Vogel crystal.
I have one. Let me go get it.
I have one, but it's not been cut by there's only one person in the world that's been trained by Marcel Vogel to cut Vogel crystals. And they're very powerful. I have two of them. But you have an actual one cut by Marcel Vogel?
No, this is a Vogel-like crystal.
Okay, that's what I said, because to get a real one, we're talking thousands of dollars.
Yeah, but this thing is powerful.
People that don't know, Zach, I'm going to get to your story and I'm going to mention something about today. That is beautiful. I have teeny tinies, double pointed, and I use them on healing, and they actually vibrate and get super hot. Wow. Vogel crystals were created by Marcel Vogel, who used to work for IBM, and he was responsible for creating that. For those of us old enough, remember the old DVDs and mainly like CD-ROMs and stuff like that had the silver foil coating on them. He created that, and when he retired, he was still researching and looking, had no interest in crystals. I forget why. It was my friend Dan that's been on. Zach would probably remember Dan Willis. And you know who Dan is too, because I used to send his stuff all the time.
Oh, yeah.
He used to work with Marcel before Marcel died. And for some reason, he was looking at the quartz crystal and watches and why it was thought to be able to improve the battery life of watches back in the day of old. And he
Mm.
recognized that when a quartz crystal was cut at certain degrees, it had incredible, incredible healing properties.
Wow.
Before I get to
Wow.
Zach's story and a few more comments, Leanne, how do you find with your Vogel?
I don't use it too often. I have to wait for it to call to me, honestly. Well, that's what I do with, okay, that's what I do now with any of my crystals. Like I walk in here and I just ask, okay, who wants to play today, or who wants to work with me today? And I stand there and it's like, yeah, that one is one of the ones that just doesn't come out too often. But yeah, if I do, it is usually I meditate with holding it in my hand. Oh,
Did I ever show you this one? This was somebody who used to be on our network. She has a quartz store
no.
in Hawaii, and she makes these sort of as a massage tool, but it's got quartz, but it's got a lot of
Wow.
interesting things in there. We got so many
Yeah,
comments. I can't wait because I still
yeah,
want to add the Fae thing. So I love aura type crystals, angel aura.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's
love
hard to
him.
see on the camera, but I'm telling you the look. But I wanted to show you the vocals. I'll find them. I have so many. I don't have Leigh Ann's crystals. I told you I have crystal envy with Leigh Ann. But what I will show you is my Vogel knockoffs, as I call them. Here, I got to hold it up. See the cracks in
Ooh,
there? Those cracks
yeah.
were not in there. When I use this for his healing
Oh, wow.
and it starts
Yeah,
to vibrate, it gets really hot. And this one
wow.
too, same thing. So much energy comes out of it. It never had
Wow.
anything in there. It'd be interesting to see. We're going to be all over them. We got some. I wasn't planning on doing a show on crystal, but crystals. We were going to go all over because,
I have
guys.
a segue.
Well, Leanne and I said we were going to go wherever the conversation went.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
We were talking off air a couple days ago, and guys, do you know that you can actually use clear type crystals to pick up in mediumship people coming through? And I've seen it live.
Wow, no.
Yeah. Remember,
Well,
I was telling
wait.
you.
That does make sense. No, that does make sense.
Remember when I'm going to get to your story, Zach. Remember when I was telling you the person I took my crystal Reiki from? She did it live in our class. Like she had, I think it was a clear quartz bar, and she showed us. Like you could see, I believe she felt it was herself and a guide, and then I don't know, she took video or what it was because she does this all day long, crystal Reiki, and she showed us there was another. I don't know if it was a relative or something that was coming through with one of her clients,
Mm-hmm.
but you could see this, and she had no reason to lie. I mean, it was a private class, so
No.
I believe you could do it.
Well, think about it. Think about a crystal ball. Does that not make sense?
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
I was like, wait, it's just looked like this instead of like this, that
I
makes sense.
before
That
I
makes
get
sense.
that was really brilliant. I didn't even think of that. You're right. Um,
Popped in. Just popped in.
I was gonna say very quickly to Erica about the Fae.
Mm.
I had a fairy door in my previous home, and for those that have been here before, you've heard the story. But my house was extremely, extremely, extremely haunted with crazy paranormal activity. I know Zach will vouch for me. Zach has seen stuff live and heard stuff. Anyways, it was absolutely crazy. But I had a fairy door, and I have a picture of 3 pictures that were snapped very quickly in quick succession, and it's me. And it was like click, click, click. That's how fast it was. I was showing somebody the fairy door. It had been handmade. I picked up at a farmer's market.
Yeah.
Me. Third one, not me. It's me. You can tell by the tattoo on my hand, what I'm wearing, my hair, not the right same lip, not the same nose, and definitely looked like I had like almost like a caveman type brow. It is crazy. Now, did it come from the Fae? I don't know. Hard to say.
I don't know, huh?
Mhm. I didn't fake it. So let's finish Zach's story here. We got so many
Okay.
comments from you guys.
Okay.
Okay, Zachman was finishing his story and he said, so he was drawn to this large, raw, rough piece of copper. And he goes,
Mm-hmm.
it was mined from the copper smelter in the town over. I saw that it was $25 and heard my mother whisper, buy it. And rest in peace to your mom, Zach. Zach just lost his mom earlier this year.
Oh,
Send him.
I'm sorry, Zach.
Yeah, we send you hugs and much love.
Mm-hmm.
I ended
Mm-hmm.
up purchasing it. Afterwards, I went to have some Mexican food. Ooh, that sounds yummy. And decided to Google the spiritual properties of copper. I learned that copper has properties of attracting financial wealth and stability. And I said, damn, Mom, now you're speaking my language. And he says, on my way out of town, I stopped to fill my gas tank and had to use the restroom. Gas station only had one restroom and it was full, so I chose to go to a larger gas station in Superior. When I got, oh, I can see what's going to happen
I
already.
know. I'm like,
When I got there, I had a gut feeling to buy a scratch ticket. I bought one,
yeah.
and while looking for coins in my car, I found a bunch of pennies. In Canada, they don't even have pennies anymore.
Wow.
No, they outlawed them. Like you can't pay for a penny if you wanted to. Now the crappy part is they round off. Like say it comes to 4.47, depending on the establishment, most of them knock it up to 4.50. Say for example, there are a few that will knock it down to 4.45. But that's what happens. Anyways, he says he found a bunch of pennies. I said, "Okay, Mom, let's see if this copper investment will pay off." I won $100. Yay! Reflecting on this, I believe this was my mother guiding me to something that was meant to be mine and providing me with the day off that I should have had earlier. Absolutely, I agree.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that is my story, he says.
That's wonderful. That's great.
Okay, so there. Let's take that apart for a little bit. You guys were getting to the rest of your. Oh, sure, Michelle, rub it in. She's got an organite charging plate because Michelle. I always call her out because her birthday. I always say it's almost the same as mine. It's the day before in August, and she's in Australia. So, go ahead.
Let me say something to Zach.
Mm-hmm.
Copper will intensify whatever you have it with.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's powerful. Like you will feel it. When I'm holding it, man, I feel it in my head. What other crystals I have with it, it intensifies it in a good way, I think. But just it intensifies it. So, in case you want to play around with that, with some other crystals or other substances.
I'm going to take that apart a little further. Hang on. I'm just going to say to Michelle, she makes organite like I do with the resin stuff. I even pulled out, it needs another coat. It needs another coat. But this is actually a mold that I have that I painted. Yeah. So we got some cool stuff coming. Eventually I'm going to get this done. What's that?
I said, I love that. I like that footprint.
So what I was going to say though, let's see what Sandra had to say. She's saying this to Erica about the Fae. She goes, we're all over the place tonight, guys. She goes, that piece of lapis will reappear under a piece of furniture when the fairies are done with it. I'd be fascinated to hear the effect on it after they're done.
Oh, I don't know. I have never thought of that because all of the things I'm aware of come from other people. I don't know that I've had anything like that. So I don't know. That's a fascinating question.
And do you clear it? Like, do you even what do you think, Sandra? Do you think you should even attempt to energy clear it after it returns from the Fae? Because to me, that's a gift, right? Like, I wouldn't want to clear the energy.
I mean, I think of the Fae as positive. I don't think of them. I mean, they're mischief. They're mischievous, but I don't think of them any other way. So, well, maybe I think you try one way and the next time you try the other way. Like you either.
I know, but I wouldn't want to clear it because say they put some magic in there. This is going to sound really crazy for anybody just twirling around the dial going, what are these girls talking about? But really, they're magical beings. And I believe they're one of those caretakers here.
Yeah.
So,
I'd almost say maybe not clear it. Again, I would feel into that, but maybe I'm like trying to think, what would I do with that? I don't think I would clear it. I think I would just pick it back up and put it, all right, let me put you back where you belong. I don't know that I would clear it. I don't think that's the first thing I would think to do.
Oh, so Erica says she'd love to get one of those Vogel crystals to make a crystal grid with. Oh boy, you're going right where we could go with, but I do want to add with Zach before we get into the crystal
Yeah,
grids.
no, go ahead, because
Leanne makes the most incredible grids. There's pictures in my group on Facebook on the Angel Rock, and
yeah.
she used to post one every day, and so they were the most incredible, large, powerful grids. But what I wanted to add with Zach before we jump there, Leanne,
Yeah.
is and see what you think. I almost feel, Zach, like what Leanne shared with you, what copper can do and its magnification properties. She said if you put it with other crystals, I almost feel like it really magnified, not that you wouldn't already have an incredible bond and connection with your mom, but to be able to really, really come through and communicate with her, like it amplified it for you. What do you think, Leanne?
Yeah, I think that's very possible. It amplified the energy, the vibration. So absolutely.
Mhm.
Because if it can do that with crystals, and it does, then why can't it? I mean, it does. Wait. It does. Because what is it when I'm sitting here with this crystal? We're having an exchange of information right here is what's going on with me holding this crystal.
Mhm.
So then if you have a piece of copper, why can't that be an exchange between you and the copper? You don't need this crystal as well with it. Yeah, it intensifies. Yeah, it
Mhm.
intensifies the vibration. I would say raises the vibration, but yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so Erica said she'd love a Volgo crystal to make a crystal grid with. And go, Leanne. I have to grab. I hear it calling me because I feel naked. Ask Leanne. I lost my crystal. This one I'm going to show you guys. And I told her, I said, oh my gosh, I don't even wear jewelry normally. I felt like I was missing my arm without it. Remember?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So go ahead with the crystal grids. I'm going to grab it. It's right around me. I'm here. I just got to
Oh,
go.
okay. Yeah. So shortly after beginning to acquire all these crystals, I just really started to put them down, try to put them in some kind of pattern. Well, you can't see what I'm doing, like laying them out in some kind of grid pattern. And it sometimes it feels like they needed to be geometric and they needed to be symmetrical, but now they are not. They're these grand things that take up half my dining room table. They're huge, but they're so powerful. And it's all again God taught. I don't concern myself with there need to be 5 of these and they got to be nope. Sometimes I need them to have being aligned to a certain direction. I need crystals in certain ways. It is weird. It is weird. And it is almost like a ritual when it's like, oh, wow, I feel one coming. I have to come back here and stand in front of the crystal wall. And I just like, okay. And I start picking crystals. And it's interesting because the way I pick them up and gather them, they have to be put down in the same order when I put them on the table. Like it's interesting, like how I come in here and do, and then they have to be put down in a certain order. I don't try to do it, but it is the way it has to be. And I have to hold them all until I put them down. Like it is very much like, I don't know, a process. And it just, it has changed as I guess, as I grow in this, it has changed. It just has a different feeling. And I can even go back and look at the crystal grids that I've made. If you go on my Facebook page or Instagram, which Facebook is The Crystal Architect, and the Instagram is Architect
The
The
crystal.
Crystal.
Yeah.
And if you just go look at the pictures, they're the same on both because I just keep them the same. When I go back and I look at those pictures of those grids, I mean, sometimes it's like, that's magnificent. I mean, it's just like, it's really pretty, but the energy's different. It doesn't feel the same. When I look at those pictures, that is not the energy at that moment when I was putting it together. It's very interesting how it absolutely serves a purpose in that moment of I have to get that grid together. I have to put that grid and create it. And then after it's there, it's over the day, it just kind of fades. The energy fades on it. It's still beautiful. It's still really pretty to look at, but man, just trying to put that together, it's just like I gotta get it out. I gotta put it up and just get it right, if you
But
will.
I think like one of the reasons I know you do it very intuitively. Do you feel like you're working with your guides? Because before you answer that, one of the reasons why we may want to make a grid is it helps amplify whatever you're working with or thinking about, right? Or is there other reasons why you would make a grid?
Okay, so there's many, many reasons why you would make a grid, and it can be anything. It can be simple. It can be very simple. Me and this stone, this is a grid because you are always the last stone of the grid. I mean, you're the last piece of that grid. So you and one stone is a grid.
Mm-hmm.
But I know what you're asking. If you were to put 2 or 3 pieces down, and maybe it's for abundance or prosperity, or if it's for love and compassion, maybe it's for calm, peace and calm. There's any number of reasons why you would do that. When working with clients, I take the person's own words. I found this to be the most valuable and the most powerful. That what I ask is, what do you want to create or support in your life?
I love that.
And then they tell me, or they write it out, however this communication happens. And that is what I take into the Akashic records to then build a grid. Mm-hmm. But I also start building it in my mind.
What the Akashic records are.
Yeah, right.
I make Leigh Ann work when she's on. No, I actually do this with most people because remember I said to you, we're going to be talking in lingo that I'm sure practically everybody here that I can see their comments will know what it means. But people listening are going, what's the Akashic records?
Yeah, okay. Okay, so when I create grids for clients, I go into their Akashic records, which is a space where the records of anything that was, is, or will be, and that can be a thought or an action. I mean, everything. Mm-hmm. So what I do is I'll ask, what would you like to create or support in your life? And then I ask, do I have your permission to go into your records? Okay. But so while I've gotten that information, my mind is already starting to work on it. But I going into the Akashic records definitely adds so much more to it. It's amazing. I mean, it is. Oh, another thing to Zach. One more comment to Zach, because this is something I use in my process. So I think maybe you'll find this comment useful, and anybody else may. So when I'm doing a crystal grid and I see like the colors and the stones and the placement, and I'm getting all these details. And sometimes it'll show me like a picture, and it'll be a geometric shape, and it'll be like purple, or it'll be red. I literally go on Google, red Fibonacci, whatever, or red pi symbol, red flower of life, whatever it is. And I find it, and I always find exactly what I saw in here. It's amazing. So I think that is really cool that you made the connection with your mom and the copper, and you just kind of looked it up, and that's the information you got, because that was meant for you to find it. You found it because you were meant to find it. That's what I think when I do this, like, don't make it too hard. Just go and look for it first, and it always comes. So I thought that was amazing. So good for you, Zach.
I am going to read his comment. He said, thank you, ladies. It was such an amazing experience, and I'm really glad that you got to share it today. Absolutely. And I was so glad you said, stay patient with me. It's a long story. So we knew it was coming. And it was kind of cool the way you typed it, because I could see Leigh Ann and I were going, okay, what's next? What's next? I'm sure the people were listening too.
Yeah. I was like, what's next? What's next? Yeah.
Okay, so Erica says, and I think she's referring to crystals and grid. She said, I use them to manifest. If I'm working for myself, all the points go inward towards the middle stone. If it's for someone out of my home or the collective, I have the points outward. Interesting. Do you do that, Leigh Ann, or you just sort of go intuitively?
Well, to manifest, I actually push that out. From the grid, from the center of your grid. So your center stone is going to be the stone, the most powerful, not the most powerful, but it is your focus stone. So then, like, usually I would use a clear quartz, especially one I'm very drawn to, one that I think, I feel is very powerful. And then that's what I program with whatever I'm trying to manifest. And then I point, I have used points, I point them out, because I want that energy going out. I want that manifestation energy going out from that grid. That's how I see it.
But you got to do, just so you guys know, but it's always nice to hear what other people do.
Right.
What
Yes.
works for you, or you
Yeah.
feel like you're being called to do, or it
Yeah.
resonates with you. But it's
Yeah.
always nice to hear what other people do, because you may change up things a little bit hearing what other people do, right, Leigh Ann?
Well, here, I'll make here, I will admit something. When I work with double terminated points,
Mhm.
I'm like, so is the small one supposed to go towards me, or is it go out? Which one is it? And I can just like, is it? And I'm like, just hold the thing, just hold the thing, because I'm just like you said, if you find pointing them in, good. I mean, if that works for you, do it. I mean, and it's all you experiment with it.
Hi, Robin. Welcome. We got Robin Haffern Paranormal from the UK here. Okay, but like she said, if it's for herself, like she's trying to manifest something, they go inward. But if she's sending that manifestation energy outwards, she puts the points outward. So interesting perspective. Now, I want to answer this because, and I want to hear Leigh Ann. I'm going to let Leigh Ann go first, unless you want me to go first. It doesn't matter. But because we both do Akashic Records, and Leigh Ann's a guest, so I don't want to put her on the spot, but I know she'll have an answer because I
I'll
picked up
answer.
a bunch of stuff. So Erica is asking, speaking of Akashic Records, why doesn't my guide let me inside the door? Like he leads me to this quote unquote giant library, but stops at the closed door. And then in loud letters or big letters, and rightfully so, feeling frustrated, I pick that up. Why can't I get in? You picking anything up? Or do you want to think about it for a minute? Because I picked up some stuff.
Well, my thoughts are, and I don't know that this is necessarily intuitive, but my thoughts are, there's some block there that you're not ready to be there yet. You're close, but you're not ready yet.
Mm-hmm.
And that is my guess. That is my guess. And that's the only guess I have, that it's just you're not
Okay,
quite
so
there yet. Yeah.
what I'm picking up, Erica, is that maybe it was the day that you tried it and you got a block for some reason. And then now every time you go back to try and get in, you keep feeling that block and anticipating it. And then there's,
Mm-hmm.
and I could be wrong. I can't tell you what you're feeling. I'm just telling you what I'm picking up. There's some anticipated I'm going to get blocked, right? And the more I always find, I don't know, I remember the days back when I tried to access, I wanted to know, how do I open my third eye? Who are my guides? Who are my angels? When are my abilities going to come in? And I don't say that disrespectfully, because we all want it, right? We know it's available. And I found the more that I was able to work with different mentors, try different things, and just relax, because spirits always give me like it's meant to kind of flow. And the more harder we try, which we have been taught as being a human being, the harder you work, the more that comes to you as a reward. But it's almost the opposite with connecting to spirit. I still have a little bit more to add, but I can tell Leigh Ann's going to add something.
No, I'm not.
No? Okay.
No, go
Well,
ahead.
what I was going to say, now this is just a suggestion, is Erica, what you may want to do is look for somebody, and I'm not trying to promote Leigh Ann or there are tons of people that do this. My mentor is amazing. Amy Robeson with Sacred Awakenings on Facebook. She has a group on there. There are people that are going for their practitioner certificate, for example. And she's just one person. Like Leigh Ann worked with somebody completely different.
Yeah.
But my
Yeah.
point is, she does have people looking for certification that are looking for people to work with to do a reading for you,
Yeah.
that she may be able to ask those specific questions for you, or he or she, I shouldn't say she, he or she may be able to ask
Yeah.
this and help you sort of move past that block. And then I call them the masters, teachers, and loved ones. They will, and it just depends who you work with. Like you'll hear
Yeah.
different things, right?
Yeah.
But they may be able to, you can ask that question in the records, and they may be able to give you a lot more concrete answer. And I've been taught that the more questions I ask, a question followed by another, followed by another, followed by another. And where you are in the Akashic records, the collective will only answer you where you were meant to hear what you are in that moment. They're not going to tell you something that you're not ready for. They're not going to tell you anything that would scare you. They're here to help. Did you want to add anything with that, Leigh Ann?
Yeah, I agree with what you say. Like once in the Akashic records, you'll get what you need, and you're not going to get this dump of just boom, here's everything. You're going to get what you need at that moment you're visiting the records, that you're accessing them. Yeah.
Yeah, because I kind of feel like it's almost like it's been a block now for a bit, and it's becoming whether we want to say I'm not feeling any frustration, but sort of subconsciously we're anticipating it. I almost feel like having a session with somebody like that may be able to help you get over the hump and then access it.
Well, that, or I was going to say a meditation to maybe
Oh, you
is
can
there a
try
way
that.
to remove that block? Some kind of, if not an Akashic record session, then a session that maybe you can do yourself or do with someone else, as in removing a block.
Mm-hmm.
But one way or another, however you can find
Mm-hmm.
what that block is or remove it.
A meditation, yeah, but if you want some answers, I even thought as
Yeah,
to why
yeah,
it's here in the first place,
yeah,
but you're
yeah,
not feeling like you can get in the door, if you
yeah,
will. That
yeah.
somebody, so try either one of those if they resonate. Try
Mhm.
it and see where you get with that. And like I said, I'm not telling you to go seek out someone and pay for it. There's lots of people. I just happened to mention my mentor. You trained with somebody else, and we've talked about it before.
Mhm. Yeah. I've trained with 3 different people. So, and I'm just like trying to think back, like, how did we discuss this? Like when you can't get in and it's just, you're blocked for a reason, whether, it's you're not ready or there's something blocking you.
Well, Erica added, I'm feeling triggered emotionally, just FYI. I will tell you this,
Mhm.
that with my mentor, and I always encourage people, I do mentoring, Leigh Ann does mentoring and teaching. I always encourage people to work with many different mentors, because I can tell you if I work the same mentor for everything, I'm just sort of hearing their perspective versus working with many different mentors and hearing everybody's perspective. I've changed my belief systems over the years
Mhm.
with
Mhm.
education and working with different people,
Yeah.
as well as I think gives you a more holistic, well-rounded approach. But the one thing my Akashic Records practitioner has suggested for when we've worked with through her program and utilizing it, which I do, we ask our clients not to partake in any alcohol or any extracurricular enjoyables, we'll call it that, for 24 hours before accessing the records.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, same rules. Yep. Same
Yeah,
rules
I
apply
thought
here.
we talked about that. Yeah. Were you told why? Like, I wasn't, the only thing we were told was like, it can kind of alter. Well, let's put it this way: when you partake in any enjoyables, we have an energy field, whether you want to call it your personal space, an aura, whatever the way you want to look at it.
Mhm.
And that can weaken the energy field when we partake in enjoyables.
Yeah.
Indefinite. What were you told, Leigh Ann, in any? So what I'm saying is you may not get a true connection or something else you may not wanting to be connecting with.
The same thing you said, no alcohol and no other um,
Enjoyables.
enjoyable. If it's medication, it's medication. You take your medication, because somebody had asked, well, what's the difference between taking this kind of drug and that drug? And it's like,
Yeah, we
you got
got
to
the
take your
same
medications,
question.
but
Yeah.
the other extracurricular stuff, no, you don't do that. But then someone further said, don't use this in conjunction with another system until you know what you're doing in this system. And I'm like, okay, no, that's a good way to say it. But I only use Akashic records and then talk about crystals. So I don't do anything else other
I
than that.
use it for all kinds of things.
Oh
So
yeah,
past
yeah,
lives, because the Akashic records, like buildings have it, businesses have it, like you name it, anything has
yeah,
an Akashic
yeah,
record.
yeah.
And you can get
Sorry.
some great information. Now, Erica asked, what about caffeine and nicotine? I will
No,
tell
I think you continue your normal life as you would, as far as, yeah. I mean, because I drink caffeine every day, but I if I were going to have alcoholic beverage, if I had a client, I do not have anything for at least 24 hours before I meet with someone. Like
you.
I'm not going to do all that and then come in
So
hungover.
that's what I'll say, caffeine and
Yeah.
nicotine, if you normally
Yeah.
partake in it, that's
Yes.
who you are in your energy field. The
Yeah.
other thing I was going to say is if you're not feeling your best, 100% sick too. I'm going to read Sandra's comments because Sandra's
Okay.
wonderfully intuitive as well. And adding another piece, like I said, you get the more people you talk to, we all get little bits and
Yeah.
pieces. I'm going to get us
Yeah.
kind of move into some of the channeling
Yeah.
and portaling in a sec. But
Yeah.
I want to share what Sandra shared here as well, too. But if it's what you normally do, so like Leigh Ann, that was important to mention. So if you're working with your doctor or whomever, and it's something that you're always taking as a medication, no, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about adding something new, if you will, energetically, like alcohol or extracurricular enjoyables, we will say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So so Sandra suggested, Erica, right now, tend to your breathing, big, deep breath in, long, slow breath out, like blowing through a coffee stir straw. And Erica added, thank you, Sandra. I needed this.
Yes. Okay.
You might want to make sure you're working on grounding. This is really good for anybody, I think, too. Like when I'd mentioned earlier, as human beings, I think we're meant to be in balance. So that means connecting, if you will, to source, as well as really being grounded to this planet, because there's a new movie. Well, it's not that new, Earthing, like it's some brand new healing technique. It's
Oh,
been
wow.
done
Yeah. Yeah.
thousands of years. What's your thoughts
Yeah.
on that, Leanne? Like
Oh,
grounding and
I love that documentary. I didn't think I would care for it. I'm like, oh my God, this is
But it's not
wonderful.
new. They made it sound like it's this
I know.
phenomenal new healing technique.
But I'll tell you what there's one thing in there that made me just sad, that hit me just very sad. When they took rubber soles off of shoes and we started using synthetic crap. And I was like, of course, of course. It just kind of made me mad. Like, yep, there you
Well, we
are.
used to use wood years ago. Like you
Oh,
can
yeah.
see why we don't use wood anymore, but still
Not very pliable, but yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
synthetics
Um,
don't allow that electrical connection. And again, it sounds really woo-woo, but when you go back to the principles of energy, they can
yeah.
neither be created nor destroyed, transfer from one place to another. And we really are energy, atoms and molecules made up into a human being, right? So you know what, let's talk a little, well, you see where you want to go, but I was thinking about your channeling because you had a message you were going to start with. Do you want to share that? Is that what you were hoping to do? I wanted to get a
I was
little
like,
bit into you.
portals. When you said everything is energy, I was like, and here we go, portals.
See how we just kind of slid into it?
Yeah.
So,
Well,
because this
okay,
is where
I'll
the
start.
ghosty stuff, I'm just going to add quickly the ghosty stuff, you can talk about UFOs, ETs, any of
Oh,
this
yeah.
stuff, again, all energy,
Yeah.
portals, whatever. Go ahead,
Sure.
Leanne.
Yeah.
Sorry, I
Go.
need to cut you off.
Yeah. No, no worries. So this was like a few weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, but I had this urge of like, oh, something's coming through. I need to write this down. Like, okay, I'm getting a message. So I write it down. Okay. And this one's a short one, thank goodness. But, well, wherever it went. Yeah, hold on.
I'll add
Okay, no,
reason
not there.
comments.
Anyway, so yeah, go ahead. You fill in. It'll take me just
Okay,
a
when you
second.
find
Sorry.
it, you let me know. So Sandra says nothing better than feeling soil or sand in between your toes. And Zach Man, I'm going to highlight her comment so we can see it. And then Zach Man says, I feel more in tune when I wear my sandals at home. And when you kick your sandals off and you get your feet, like Sandra said, with the
Yeah,
soil, holy crap, it really is
yeah.
amazing. Mm-hmm.
Okay, everything that we're discussing here, these are the things that got connected for me today of all the things I've done in my life as a child here and all these other things. I was like, I have always been connected and I have just like, it's always been there. Oh, anyway, I was like, good grief, good grief. It was a lot. It was exciting and fun, but wow, just, oh, wow. Okay, here's the entry, and this was March 23rd, and that was a big day. That was a big energy day. I kept hearing there was some big shift that was supposed to happen. So when I go back and look at that date, I'm like, okay. So I had a bowl of small tumbled crystals in front of me, and I had the song "Storms of Africa" by Enya playing, which is a very, very, very important song for me. Okay, and so here's what came through. Remember, the crystals are portals for you. Portals for you. Remember, they are portals for you. The connection, you're here and you're there also. And then I refer to the drawing that you shared with Lorilei pertains to crystals allowing you to jump and visit timelines or past lives as humans call them. Different human experiences are all accessible now. You can visit them, gather info, heal among them, all of them. And so I'll show the little, if I can show the,
Yeah, go ahead.
Hold on, I can find it.
Is it like the circle with the in the middle?
Yeah, it's that thing. I don't think it looks too good. I think
you did a great job. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
So I know people are going to hear this.
Yeah.
And they're going to say, where did that come from? And what is this channeling that we speak of? Like, who are you talking to? Who are you connecting with? What's your thoughts?
The first thing I'm going to say is when, like we were talking about information on crystals or Akashic records and this woo-woo stuff here. This information, any channeled information it can be different from person to person, because where are they getting it from? But also they're the instrument. So how are they bringing it through? How do they perceive it? How are they, maybe they don't have certain words. Do you see what I'm saying? Like if they have a limited vocabulary or maybe limited understanding of certain things. So
you're talking about the person that's doing the channeling.
Who's doing the channeling? You need also that will affect the information coming through. So when you listen to people who are channeling, and even the stuff I'm sharing here, it may not resonate with you. Again,
but who are they getting that information from, do you believe? This week?
I don't know.
I do.
I mean, okay, well, here's how I was going to say, I don't know about them, but mine, it feels like it's me. It's big me. It's my higher self.
Okay.
I know where I'm getting this, but I don't know. There's so many entities you could be channeling. So.
Okay, so what I believe channeling is, and there's very different forms of it. And Leigh Ann has read me some stuff from 2018. I don't know how she remembered, but that blew my mind because it just came up recently in 2023 in one of our conversations, for example.
Yeah.
I remember years ago when Leigh Ann and I met in a group that shall remain named. Many beautiful gifts came out of that group, including David, my co-host, you. I've got a lot of great friends out of that group. Yeah. I remember having this conversation years ago, understanding with the crystal envy and seeing your beautiful crystal connection. And we were just getting into we were taking a couple classes with this group and saying, what would happen if you took these crystals into meditation? Holy crap. It was like taking a magnifying glass like a gazillion with Leigh Ann. But with channeling, I agree. We can channel our higher self. Now, people probably will say, what is the higher self? Call it your subconscious, call it whatever you want. But believe it or not, that is what runs you on this planet.
Yes.
Right? Your soul. It's your connection to your soul. And it knows everything it's kind of like the Akashic records. It knows everything that ever was, ever is, ever will be. It's not quite the same because it doesn't have everybody's information, but it has you and your soul's journey in there. We can connect to our guides this way. We can connect to angels. We can connect to ascended masters, to elementals, you name it, anything that's a higher vibrational, I hate to use the word entity. I'll say higher vibrational connection. Okay. And we can do this.
Beings.
Now, there's various forms like automatic writing, where you get into a state. And sometimes I can do that without even realizing. And I know you can. You just start writing. And all of a sudden it's like you're writing, but you don't really remember what you wrote. And then you look back at it and you go, holy crap, did I write that?
Yeah.
I find when I channel audibly, I don't do trance channeling and things like that. There are people that do, though. But when I start to channel, when I'm doing a reading, I start talking faster and faster and faster and faster. Like I can't even talk as fast as it comes.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So, and none of them are right or wrong. However the information comes, I think you said this, Leigh Ann, like how the information comes or the words that you have to relay it will reach the people it's meant to reach. Right?
I mean, the same faculties that you use to think, to create, your intuition, your thoughts, your memories, those are the same things that you use to channel. So, there are some limitations there, or there can be. There are people who have channeled miraculous things beyond their human mind. But I mean, most people, I would think there is a limitation there. So be aware of that as well. So like Lorilei said, listen to several different people because you get different points of view. You'll find you like certain styles or certain people or certain subjects more than other things that you just don't want to, not interesting to you right now. And it's the same thing with crystals, not to bring them back in, but you collect more crystals and you'll find you'll work with some of them for over and over and over and over, the same few. But then there's others you bring in occasionally, and that's fine. But
Where I'm fascinated, and I've shared with you, and I've mentioned it numerous times on air, is the Next Level Soul podcast. And it's a previous Hollywood director, Alex Ferrari, and he brings in people who've had near-death experiences. Maybe they are kind of like a coach channel, self-help guru. And then he brings in he'll bring in psychics, mediums. He has fascinating interviews. Sometimes he's got some of the Hollywood people, but a lot of times it's people that are up and coming. Like I just listened to the most incredible near-death experience last night. I don't think I've ever heard a story like this, but she's quite a storyteller. So she had to give every detail. Like there were times I was shaking my phone going, just tell me what happened. But she did get to it. I've reached out to her. So I'm hoping maybe we'll be able to have her on because it is an incredible story. Like this lady connecting, she called it the Holy Spirit, connecting. She'd been ill. She'd been poisoned by her previous husband. And he walked her through, basically, you would call it the dark night of the soul. And he said, child, this is just going to be an annoyance. Think of it as an annoyance, an annoyance. And she said she felt like every bone breaking. And then she was paralyzed when she opened her eyes and she saw everything that her husband did. Indeed, stopped breathing, went to the other side and came back. It is a fascinating story. I'm getting off track here, but the channelers, like there is Sheila Gillette, who goes back to the days of Seth, and Jane, I forget what Jane's last name is. Do you remember what Jane's name is? Pardon? Robert. Yes. Okay. In the 60s, she channels a collective of archangels just known as Thor. They're all different ones. There's some from Canada. They're from all over the world. There is, I'm trying to think. Oh gosh, I forget who it is, but Suzanne Giesman always. Have you heard of her before, Giesman?
Yes, I have.
She was like super high up in the military. Like she was, what did she call it? I'm not American, I'm sorry, but she was like second in command to I think the president, I want to say prime minister, president or something. Chief something.
Chief of staff.
Wasn't chief of staff, but she was like an advisor to something like that. Anyways, her stepdaughter passed away while on duty in the military, and she'd never been raised religious or anything. She now is an incredible medium, teaches people how to be mediums. Because she believes we all have these abilities as I do, but she's also a channeler too. And what she talks about is meditating, quieting our mind. I hate calling our regular mind a monkey mind. You'll hear that term in this field. And when we quiet the mind, the information that will come through, and including, we switch timelines, don't you think? Like people probably don't even, if you want to know what timelines and portals and dimensions are, you start watching shows like the Marvel Universe and things that go through, right? Would that explain it? Do you think the easiest for people who've never heard of this before?
Yes. With what, Dr. No? Or no, Dr. Strange. Dr. Strange?
That's a good one. Yeah.
That's one to give you a good shake your brain around a little bit.
We switch timelines though, and we don't even realize about it. And like, let's just talk about the Mandela effect. Like, what is going on with that? Like,
I don't know.
Have we switched a whole timeline, like just gone into another dimension? And then there's a guy, you guys, I've sent some of this stuff to Liam, that he claims, now we're not convinced. We did see this one with this guy that claimed he opened a portal in his bedroom. And then he made it bigger, bigger, bigger. And he claims he went through it. It was like a beach and he was in his bedroom, but you never saw him go through it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
That's
Yeah.
okay. Jump in here. So go ahead.
That was the one I remember when you showed it to me. It's like he shows you some of the beach, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like, come on, turn on around. I want to see the whole thing. I want, nope, he didn't come all the way. And I'm like, okay, I don't believe any of this. Like, I don't know what to do with that.
Okay, but I add this because I had seen this first clip I'm going to talk about
Okay.
months before. And it was actually, you guys hear me talk about Nuke's Top 5, probably more on Thursdays than I do on Mondays, but it's a guy on YouTube, gets videos sent in with strange things from all around the world. He doesn't tell you what to think. He just says, is it all an elaborate hoax? You decide. And I saved this clip because this guy had, and we've all heard, if we've heard of the Mandela effect, that, supposedly things were one way as we remember them, but now they're a different way. And the reason why it's called the Mandela effect, for those who've never heard it, is because, and I do remember Nelson Mandela from South Africa passing away. And then all of a sudden, when this phenomena was being noticed, he was alive. Do you remember that?
Well, okay, I do remember because I remember watching the celebration of him getting out of prison,
I do too.
all
Yes.
that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until after that that I realized, wait, what? People think he died? I'm like, no, he's not dead. But
Mm-hmm.
but I was like, no. And I think the reason that I was very clear on that was in a previous job, I used to go into the library and look things up. And so he's connected with some activities in the 70s. And anyway, so I was like, no, he's not dead. What is this? But I know that that's one of the Mandela effects that comes up. I'm like,
Okay. So I
no.
think I sent you this video clip. If I haven't, remind me to afterwards. This is the same guy. I didn't realize till I'd seen it all put together. So the guy that claimed that he went through this time portal into a beach somewhere else.
Yeah.
He also was on camera with a book called The Berenstain Bears, as we remember, with the E. It now appears with an A,
Yeah.
Berenstain. He was going in and out of the doorway of the bedroom and back, and there was no blurring. There was nothing. It's just all of a sudden it was an E. As he went in the room, it was an A, and back and forth, back and forth. Now there's deep fakes out there. There's a lot of stuff people can do with cameras, but I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know about that one. That's crazy. That is crazy.
And then with portals, like, what if there is people that can open portals? We don't know every almost 8 billion people in the world, because I don't know about you guys, but I do look into the paranormal. I don't know if I sent you this video or not, Leigh Ann. I may not have sent you Nuke's Top 5. The reason why I did, I sent it to David Hansel, my co-host, Thursday night, and we talked a bit about it last week, because there's little kids, because I believe little kids and animals can definitely see the other side and connect very easily. Yeah. But there was this video, and I've been seeing more and more of this. These guys are hunting, I believe, in the US, and they're filming from afar all the bucks and doe, running by. And all of a sudden, one of the guys goes, Joe, get a load of this. And Joe's going, what? And he goes, look at this. I swear to all the powers that be. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps. That's my sign for truth, but holy cow, goosebumps and goosebumps. This looked like a man, if you will, from afar, and Nuke's Top 5 kind of blew it up. He had to be about 10 feet tall, and he's wearing no shirt. He's bald. He's got on almost look like capris, if you will, black pants. Capris, for those that don't know, they're calf-length pants you wear in the summer.
Short pants.
And he is running at warp speed after these deer on all four. Like, did that come through a portal? Like, where did that come from?
Wow.
That to me was a giant. I don't know.
Hey, I guess it's all okay. Okay. Yeah, I guess it's possible. It is. It's possible.
He's not the first one. I have seen so many. Yeah. Ben, I didn't even send you this. Like, remember, I left you a message, and I haven't had a chance, Leigh Ann, and she tried, and I've just had a crazy weekend. I have seen this, and I have believed this. Over in Asia, we'll call it, a country that starts with C, and we'll leave it with that, ends with an A. There are videos I had seen. And there's one quite humorous, and it looks like a woman in a lab coat is holding a baby dinosaur. And then an African American man comes on at the end of it and says, I can't say the word on here, but it was biatch. Is that
Yeah.
a dinosaur? Okay, there was that one. There's another one, same type of woman, lab coat, another looking almost baby dinosaur, and kids are petting it, going, how cute.
Uh-huh.
I just came across, I haven't had a chance to tell you this, a video that this guy went into it, and I haven't been able to vet it and verify it. I usually do a ton of research on something like this to see what else is being said out there. That they apparently got found a looked to be almost like a dragon carcass, like in the stone in a dig, and they found some viable DNA that they were
Hmm.
mixing with lizards and Gila monsters and stuff. And apparently it got out and attacked somebody in one of the labs. And again, it's very hard to get information from
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I have a lot of questions, but I'm going to share it and leave it up to you guys to do some more research.
Mhm.
And apparently they have been able to hatch some sort of dinosaur.
So basically Jurassic Park.
Oh no, well, dinosaurs and dragons. Yeah, and
Well,
basically Jurassic Park. Mhm.
right. That sounds like that scenario is possible. Mm. Wow. All
I
right.
don't I don't oh, well, I'll send you the videos.
Okay.
You can look it up for yourself.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
to me, because with the dinosaurs, I believe, and I know this to be true, especially in Drumheller. Now, those of you that follow my show, we had Sonia Roy on. We've had her on a couple times. Amazing lady. She lives in Drumheller in Alberta, but I can tell you there have been many, many, many dinosaur fossils found in that area. So apparently they took the DNA from a dig from Drumheller in Canada here and mixed it with chicken embryos. And he was mentioning, and again, I haven't verified this, but the reason why I'm talking about all this is because God knows, like, is this an alternative timeline we might be switching to? What are we seeing? Is there things being sent through by portals? We're not the only ones in the universe, right?
Okay. So here's where my thoughts have been, and it took me till today to finally make some heads or tails of it. I think a
Okay.
little bit. Okay, so what is a portal? I'm just going to ask you that question. What is a portal?
I believe it's a connection to another dimension or timeline, and it's basically energy.
Okay, portals move energy, right?
Mm,
Portals move energy. Everything's energy. Portals move energy.
I don't know if they move it. I think they would provide an
Okay,
entrance exit.
transport, move, shift. And I mean it in that way of move.
I look at them more as a doorway, though, because to me, transport, moving, and shifting means like a transport truck piling stuff on top and driving it through, kind of thing.
Okay, Okay, so here I'll tell you. Here's how I reasoned it through. Was okay. I couldn't answer what is a portal, other than I got that they have. What did I have? I can't find it now. So much.
Apparently, I'm scarring you, Leigh Ann.
You're
That's
what?
what Michelle said. You're scarring Leigh Ann. LOL.
Yes.
No, I'm not. You don't even want to know what we talk about. We're being so
Okay, here it is.
careful, and believe me, the stuff we talk about, this is not
Okay.
scarring Leigh Ann.
No, it's not. Okay. So here's what I got. Here's what I got.
Okay.
What are portals? Portals have attachment sites. And I said, do portals move? Some can.
Yep.
Crystals can be moved to different locations by train, truck, or your hand. And I said, what about portals that transfer a physical body? And then that's where I got stuck, because I'm like, okay, do you see where I'm getting? What does a portal move or
To me, it's
transport?
a doorway that's been opened, whether you want to call it in the fabric and rip of time and dimension. Because a portal, yes, it can be moved. I mean, if you're Doctor Strange and there really is one, I don't know. I'm not trying to sound crazy here, but I don't know almost 8 billion people in the world. And believe me, if you're Doctor Strange and you're able to do stuff like that, I don't think you're going to be advertising.
No.
So
No.
to me, a portal is a doorway. Like we were talking about this gentleman in his bedroom, and they're saying he's disappeared since he put all this information
Yeah.
out. We hear all this stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We can't prove it. Same as I can't prove the dinosaur and the dragon stuff, but to
Right.
me,
Right.
it makes some sense,
Yeah.
right? I always believe
Yeah.
the truth will come to the surface, but with a portal, to me, it's like a doorway. Because, okay, so if I open my door right now and I come out of this space here, and there's a beach in another dimension there, I'm going to use the portal to go through. I'm going to use the doorway. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it does. But now, if this is a portal,
Mm-hmm.
how is this portal used?
I think it's an amplifier or a connector because you can't go through a crystal. At least I've
No,
yet to
no,
meet.
you can't. That's exactly what I was getting at. That's exactly what. See, I was stuck on these details and I was spinning my
I
wheels.
could be wrong, but don't get me wrong too, because I think that when we're not talking about space and time and something physical, it
There
most
we go.
definitely could be a portal to the higher realms and connecting with higher individuals, if you will, or collectives. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, it does. See, when I think about portals, read the comment from Sandra, if you will.
Okay, that's why I highlighted. So Sandra says
Yeah, go
regarding
ahead.
portals, I think the difference between how you each view them is static versus dynamic. I like that, Sandra. A
Yes,
portal would be
yes.
dynamic in nature, even if it isn't sucking things through or spitting things out.
See, okay, see, this is what I was getting caught on. Like, okay, when I envision somebody says, blah, 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 somebody used a portal. Okay, yes, you're jumping dimensions and
Mhm,
you're going to a different dimension or you're going to a different space-time point. Okay?
mhm.
So, like when I think Arcturians can come down here, like fifth dimension, that's very hard for them to do. It takes a lot of energy to be able to come, if you will, down here to where we can connect with them, our consciousness.
Mhm. But a crystal could amplify our vibration to be
It
able
can.
to connect to the
Yes.
Arcturian.
This would rate, yes, this would rate. So I think of, okay, Arcturians use portals, aliens, whatever extraterrestrials use portals to come down here. Now, but then
What
what
about
is the,
Bigfoot, dogmen? They
well,
are
hold on.
supposedly interdimensional, which means they're going to have to use a portal probably, or their minds if they could switch timelines, I guess.
Right. So then I was saying, so then what, then how is, okay, so like when I think about Arcturians, like you're talking about moving a lot of energy, whatever it is, however it is, if it's a light body to come down here, that takes a lot of energy to do that. But now what's the difference between my consciousness being here and jumping there, way over there? How is my consciousness going to that place, that other place, that point? And so that was like, what am I describing? And part of it is dense energy, and I'm explaining. You see where
What
I'm
I
getting
think
all.
we're doing, though, with this conversation, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I think we're putting human attributes about this because our consciousness can go anywhere. That's part of my mission. I know from spirit. I don't want to say mission. Part of the things that I share when I'm teaching is we are limitless. We are incredible. We are so powerful, not from an ego sense. There is very little we can't do. We've
Mhm.
just not been told or been shown or
Discovered
put
it.
into our
Yeah.
zeitgeist or belief system to recognize that we can do this. So I
Mhm.
think we're putting human attributes on our consciousness because our consciousness was never limited. Think about when we go in the dream state, or somebody said astral travel or lucid dreaming.
See, that's exactly the things that were coming up. Like, okay, you astral travel, your sleep time, and then it was, what's the difference of all these things? And basically, what got teased out was, you need to broaden your thoughts on portals. You really need to broaden what you think they are. So that's why I'm like, do you see where I'm stuck in this? It was kind of getting, I'm like, oh, I can kind of see it and I kind of can't. Like, but it's interesting. And then Sandra's comment is awesome again. So
I
you
was
were
trying to
there.
read because she said very cool, Michelle. And yes, Erica. So Erica said kind of like doorways and crossways. And then I did
Yeah,
highlight
yeah.
Michelle's comment. She said my mom meditated on a crystal once and she was freaked out when she came upon a shut door. Yeah, that would be kind of freaky. But again,
Wow, yeah.
instead of telling you what I think it is, what did your mom share, Michelle, what she felt that it freaked her out with the shut door? Did she feel like she was receiving some type of message or it just scared her?
Hmm.
Hmm. Well, and Jane added, sorry, Jane, she said Bigfoot are interdimensional. I
Okay.
kind of believe they are. Same as the dogmen, but we apparently back, I think it had to be a couple hundred before the birth of Christ, we did have a dog-like race population on this planet.
Yeah.
So where did they come from? Were they extraterrestrial?
Yes. Yes. Hey, spoiler alert, we're all
Yeah,
extraterrestrial.
we're all we all came from extraterrestrial. Well, did you guys see anybody out there? And I wasn't sure because I don't share a lot anymore. Like I will usually, but I usually want it to have a solution regardless of the topic because I don't want to create more fear. We got a lot of fear-based stuff out there.
Right, right.
But this thing I saw it a couple of weeks ago, but I'm seeing more and more on it that they are claiming it is a real mermaid that was I don't know if it was captured. I'm not sure if maybe they found
Oh,
it on the beach. I think I may
mhm,
have sent it to you, Leigh Ann. He's face down. I know I sent it to Jane. I'm positive I might have. And
mm,
it's very Hollywood effects, a special effect too.
mm,
So I'm not sure. And with the amount of where they are with deep fakes and
yeah,
cameras, it's so hard to tell.
yeah, yeah.
Did you see it?
I I want to say I did recently, like in the last week, but then I'm not sure if I have. But
Let's see if I
my mind's going to, I wonder how fantastic it looks versus, is it real? Is it deep fake? What
Well,
is
do
it?
you remember that documentary that came out quite a few years? It was about 5 or 8 years. It was between 5 and 8 years ago. It was on National Geographic, and these guys said they had discovered these scientists, these special little submarines that could withstand the miles below the depths of the surface. And they claimed that
No,
they ran into mermaids underneath the. You never
no,
saw
no,
this?
mm-mm. No.
It looked so real. Like
Wow, no,
everybody
I
was
haven't seen that one.
okay, everybody was talking about this. This was like the most incredible find or whatever. And you found out about a year later that they faked it.
Okay, well,
Doesn't
mm,
really help with this kind of talk because
no,
look
no.
at all the comments we're having here and people sharing their thoughts. I always say none of us are going to know the answers till we all go back home ourselves. But it's good to hear other people's thoughts on this. People want to talk about these kind of topics.
Good, yay!
I know, but it doesn't help when you get documentaries out there that seem
Yeah.
so real and they're being promoted as real. There's no fakery. And then sure enough, there's fakery.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Sure
so
enough, yeah.
sorry, Leanne.
That's fine.
Michelle said meaning her mom, um, said she couldn't believe something happened when trying to connect her crystal. She would never do it again. Oh, that's unfortunate. She had an
Mm,
experience like that.
yeah.
Mhm. Okay, let's read. I'm trying to, Jane, I'm trying to get Jerry on here to have one of these conversations. Jerry's a pretty incredible guy. He's a podcaster. So she
Oh,
said,
yeah.
and a healer. And she says, Jerry Willis went through a portal near Lake Titicaca. And I
Oh,
believe it's in Peru. He was given 3 different sounds or tones to open the portal. And it's a very interesting story that he tells.
oh, that is so believable to me because of what happened to me last night, which I'll have to share with you off
So you don't
camera.
want to
But
say it on air. And if you don't, I
no,
completely understand.
no.
Mhm.
It's, I would like to be able to describe it later in a way, but
No worries.
wow, it's, yeah. But anyway, the sound, you're talking about portals and sounds. That is, yeah, I believe it. I believe it. Yeah.
Have y'all seen the guy who channels? Oh, Bashar, yeah, he's on the Next Level Soul
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
Daryl Anka. He's there's so many videos on there. He's friends with this guy, Alex Ferrari. They've worked on a couple shows about
Mm,
Bashar and Daryl
I like
Anka.
him.
And there's people on there like the guy that channels Bashar, that channel collectives, channel angels, channel whatever. And when Leigh Ann and I've had a few conversations, and it's not like, oh my God, I'm so great, I'm channeling this, and they channeled it. That's not what it is. It's like, holy cow. It's kind of like it's evidential proof when you've picked up something else on your own and made a note of it, and then you're hearing somebody else on a video that you don't know, they don't know you, they're channeling a collective, and they're almost using the same words and phrases, right?
Oh, yes. I mean, I was astounded. I was like, yeah. And I had to write it down. I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. Like, it's so cool. I mean, in that sense of, oh, I got the same thing.
Yeah.
But the other thing from watching the Next Soul Level podcast is there are people who channel that have been interviewed, and I find I don't resonate with them anymore.
I'm so glad you brought this up. And you and I were on the same page.
Yes, because I told her, "Ooh, watch this particular person," and then I'm like, "What in the what?"
Well, I can say it with no disrespect without saying who this person is. And there's a certain saint that we both very much connect with, and I'll leave it at that. And this person in particular, now they may very well be channeling this particular saint, but the story that they shared was that he would be attributed to being an ascended master, and he was up and because the host Alex says, so where do they all go when they're not channeling? Like, do they go to a bar or something? He goes, yeah, pretty well.
Yeah, they go hang out.
They're all sitting up at the bar, and this one individual is sitting off to himself, and all the rest of them are talking about him and basically making fun of him, and and it's like, that would never happen over on the other side.
No.
There's nothing but love.
What felt hokey? It just felt like, what? No.
They were gossiping all about this particular saint, and it was like, no,
it didn't feel right. No, not at all.
So again, this person may very much be channeling this saint, but to put stories out there like that, to me, it just didn't feel right. And you didn't tell me anything. Like, we both knew who we were talking about, and we were both had the same reaction, didn't we?
But in the past, his channelings were very, I really, really liked them. And
they probably still are, but I think it's a cautionary lesson in the fact that we have to go with what feels right and what resonates with each one of us, even though somebody else may say it's fantastic and there's so much information. If it doesn't resonate, that's okay too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, so you said Bashar cracks you up. Yeah, he cracked me up too. He's hilarious.
I love the ones with a sense of humor. Like, throw a little bit of a little bit of laugh in there is always good.
Yes. So Bashar, and we've known about Bashar for a long time, haven't we? Because I remember in the group that we were in, there was one of the main people would talk about Bashar quite a bit, I remember.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not sure who you meant. You said, oops, I think you meant to say I retracted, but back to Jerry. And that's the thing, I'm even going to mention, like, there's so many things that we don't know about, right? And it makes for such interesting discussions, and to be able to talk about it like we are here. Like, I really appreciate hearing all of your perspectives and Leigh Ann's perspective, because again, we all take what resonates with us and leave the rest, right?
Yeah.
So we have about 5 minutes. Well, I'll say 3 or 4, because I want to let people know where to find your stuff. Is there anything you want to touch on or anything you want to share with anybody? Like, it's up to you. Like, I didn't know if you had something channeled or anything else you wanted to share, or.
I could give them just a tip along the way of their journey. This is something I can say I've picked up recently.
Okay.
Everybody's journey is going to be different for each one. And it's okay. Don't compare yourself with others. I mean, I'm finally, like, to know what I'm doing now, I realize I've done it all along and I didn't know I was doing it. And that may not make any sense, but it does to me. But it's like, oh, wow, okay. But There are times of me being impatient. Don't be impatient. Don't be impatient with yourself. It comes when it comes, and it comes in its own way. And you may not have any idea how it's going to come through. Or maybe you've already had one little piece of it that could be, you can hear things, or you can see things, or you sense things, or smell things, or whatever it is, mediumship, channeling. But other things will add on as it goes along, as they're meant to. And be wonderfully weird in your own way. Enjoy your days, enjoy your time. You're human. Have a human life, live a human life, but also have fun on your journey and play and find your joy. Find your joy. That's it.
I love that. Sandra already said made total sense, Leigh Ann, and it did. One thing I would never change a word what you said, but I heard from Spirit as you were saying that the only person you need to compare yourself to, if you're going to compare, is trying to improve on the version of who you were yesterday.
Your previous version. Yeah.
So Zachman says, great show today. Thank you, Leigh Ann, for joining us and sharing your knowledge with us. Have a good night, everybody. See y'all on Thursday. That's for sure.
And
Michelle,
so much fun. Thank you, everyone.
Michelle says, take care. Remember to be mindful. That's right, because your thoughts, your words, and your emotions are so powerful.
Yes.
We got to add this and I don't usually end shows, but I knew I haven't talked to Leigh Ann. I knew she was going to say something, and I knew it'd be powerful. She has the most powerful messages. Erica says, wonderfully weird. Love that.
Oh yeah, I've always been wonderfully weird, and I'm just now realizing, wow, am I that weird? I'm like, well, whatever.
Weird. Maybe I'm wonderfully weird with you.
Yeah. Be your weird self. It's okay.
Before I forget to tell you guys, once we log off of here, don't forget to stay tuned for Julia and Philip Syracuse tonight with the Horsefly Chronicles. They've got a great show coming up next. If you guys have liked what you've seen here, there are so many. We've added so many incredible, amazing new hosts to the network. Please share, like, my mouth's not working. Subscribe and let your family and friends know, because guys, if we're not live here, we do have archives playing. This is going all the time, this channel. So please join in. Sandra says, thank you, ladies. Bye, everyone. So Leigh Ann, where can they find you? Where can they connect with you?
Yes. So my Facebook page, The Crystal Architect. Also my Instagram page, which is Architect the Crystal. And they both have the same information. So if you go to both, you're going to find the same things there. It'll have contact info for me, phone number, email. Some people like to contact me by Facebook Messenger. That's fine too. So phone, email, or Facebook Messenger, either works with me, or Instagram message. Yeah. So.
And Erica, thank you for saying that, Erica. She said, make sure you thumbs up the video, and I'll read this last comment. Jane says, great show as usual. Thank you, Lorilei and Leigh Ann. Well, thank you for all being here, and people that are listening, whether you're lurking, maybe you're driving, maybe you're just listening, and we couldn't see your comments. We're so grateful you're here. Just remember too, all of our shows are archived. So there's always a video on Facebook, YouTube, always. And also we are carried anywhere where podcasts and talk radio are carried. You can find a replay like on SoundCloud, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, Podbean. I think I remember most of that. We're in like over 200 or 300. Like you could find some obscure little app that does podcasting and you will find UPRN on there. I guarantee you. Anyways, I so great you guys have been here. If you want to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me on facebook.com/The Angel Rock. Maybe you want to book a reading, do some healing sessions. I also do mentoring and teaching. Also, I have 2 groups on Facebook, the Angel Rocker Tribe, almost at the Angel Rock, the Angel Rocker Tribe for all things like what we talked about tonight, and then Paranormal University for more spookier ET UFO type stuff. I also talk about that in that group. Please stay tuned for Thursday. I think it was Zach that mentioned it, where I will be here with my friend who also knows Leigh Ann, David Hansel, my co-host. And we're going to be here with the thing at the foot of the bed at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Anything you want to tuck in very quickly before I sign off, Leigh Ann? Did we forget anything? Because you got a group
Nope.
on Facebook, right? That's the one you suggested, right?
Yeah, Facebook or Instagram, either one. Either one's fine. All right.
All right, you
Bye,
guys.
everyone.
Send you all so much love and light, and good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you might be. We'll see y'all on Thursday.